GM everyone, welcome back to another episode of Touchgrass Podcast. Today we have EBT, someone I've been following for a while on Twitter. He's pretty sharp when it comes to not just trading, but in just understanding the markets in general, and someone who I've been kind of learning a bit here and there, and wanted to get him on and talk about his process, and also we can chat a little about what's currently happening. I think the market has nuked overnight, like as EBT is saying, cascade, cascade, cascade.
I wouldn't
Uh,
really call it a nuke, but yeah,
yeah. I mean, the slow drip is exhausting, but
it's
how are you
awful.
doing, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's like the first time I'm being like the interviewee. I think that's right. Usually I'm the one that does interviewing. I've done this before. But first time I'm being interviewed and as like a trader, that's really cool. So yeah, it's really awesome to be here. Maybe a quick intro into myself. I think everyone calls me Empty Bane Trader. Name does not actually it does check out. I'm pretty stupid sometimes. But yeah, I have a let's say a finance background. I've studied finance in a master's and bachelor's degree. I used to work in an investment bank for a year. Nothing crazy, not quant. I worked in the M&A side. And then from there, I kind of got the opportunity to work in crypto, just doing a bunch of different things. I've done BD, I've done trading, I've done hedge fund management. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like a full time trader. I don't think I am full time. I don't think that's a good idea as for myself. A lot of pressure. I do like working other stuff and doing just cool projects and trading on the side as well. It's kind of like a yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And yeah, I think I joined crypto in 2021. I bought the top in the summer. I think that was May 2021. I bought the top. I remember very clearly. And then I just stuck with it. I got better, made some money into 2021, lost it all. And then yeah, post FTX really did well for myself to the point that yeah, I can be happy with myself. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Uh, what's like? Let's start with like what's been happening this since the top in Q4 of last year.
hmm
How has your trading kind of shifted like over the last 7 or 8 months? We've had this insane relentless selling
Yeah.
in January, which we just went from 98 to 60 in like 3 weeks,
hmm
which is insane. And then we've been just chopping in this range. We've had slow kind of breakout movements here and there,
hmm
breaking. But yeah, how are you navigating this whole time, and what are your like current thoughts on the market?
For me, I was always of the assumption this has been a bear market rally. Um, Funny enough, the 4 year cycle is still intact. I find that absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I think we're seeing the ends of a bear market. If I had to say, I think any pushes down below, like this downtrend, whatever you get right now, I think these are all opportunities for buying. I don't think there's many projects you should buy. I think it's pretty much in my narrow scope. It's stuff like Bitcoin, of course, Hyperliquid. I think it's one of the few companies in this space where the token is open for people to buy and they make a lot of money. And yeah, I think momentum ways Cash. I don't really see it as a business that makes a lot of money. And yeah, I think those are pretty much the three. I think that's also consensus. I think every like let's say big account says that. And since Q4, my trading style has been very just like short term. I don't have any like I
Yeah.
don't want to hold anything for longer than a day or two. And that has caused me to miss out on a lot of things. I'll be very open and honest. I did not catch the perfect hyperliquid rally from like a lot of these people in the space somehow all bought at 20 and it's now 60, so congratulations. But I didn't do that. Same with Zcash. I didn't buy. I've just been perps in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had I just don't want to hold anything for very long these days. That
It
leads
just
to
feels like nothing is free anymore. Even
no.
if it feels like it, you just don't have that conviction of what, I'm just gonna swing this to new highs. No one is
Yeah,
ever
no.
saying that. No one is ever saying that. Like even when Zcash was new,
Yep.
when we were in this 65 to 71 rally like range where every time Bitcoin like popped a bit, it was always Zcash and maybe one other coin that you always used to pump like 10-15%.
Yeah.
And then you used to retrace the least. And
Yeah.
you kind of got this sense that if Bitcoin ever had like a real rally of some kind,
Yeah.
it just will kind of be the biggest kind of winner. But I
Yep.
don't think most people caught that. And the same with Hyperliquid, right? Like when that 10-10 wick happened, I think everyone on the timeline was maybe hype will bottom at that below that wick, and that's exactly what happened. But I
Yeah.
don't.
I bought some below that wick because my idea or my thought process was, okay, it's the best project. It's the one project I understand. It makes a lot of sense. I use the product, best product. I'm gonna start DCAing from this point forward below the wick. So I bought maybe 10% of what I totally wanted to buy below the wick, and then yeah, I
Yeah,
never got any more orders. I sold from the 10%. I sold a lot at 30 because I'm like, oh, this is just a bear market rally, and I am underexposed to hype in itself. I don't mind. I'll be honest. I missed a lot of
yeah.
it, and yeah, I think it
Also one
yeah,
thing that I yes, hype is great. We've been covering on the pod for like over a
yeah,
couple of years. We've had so many builders on, so many
hmm,
traders on. But I think like I feel like people are just underestimating the scope of what it can do. Like
yeah,
people are like, oh my god, this is like the best project. But when you look at it, like zoom out and just look at other assets, all it
hmm,
has done is a 2x, right?
yep,
When you have these things, when these Micron or San, it doesn't pull one of those moves yet.
no,
And it's so funny that
yeah,
people are saying like this is yes, it's like obviously best performer, but
yeah.
when you compare it, all it has done is a 2x of the lows. And
I
uh,
think it did like a 3x. If I have to be very honest with you, I have to put like I think if you look at like the low 20s, I think it did trade below 20, like
yeah,
here. Yeah, okay, it did do a 3x. Current price is not yet, but it did a 3x. So
yeah,
still not something like Micron that's gone from like 100 to 900 or even less. I
yeah.
understand completely what you're saying, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just that we have to up our targets, or we are just so even though we are believing in something as a whole,
yeah.
we don't have that retarded conviction yet. Is what I'm saying.
I don't think we can. I will. Yeah, I missed the 2-3x, so maybe I'm not the best person to say it, but it's very difficult to have that conviction when the leader of all assets, and let's say
Yeah,
every asset not named hype, is trading like a limp dick. So it's very difficult to keep the conviction, and yeah, it's
yeah,
why I missed a big chunk of this rally, or why I don't have as much spot as I wanted to, because I'm like, yeah, I don't have that conviction for
I agree.
anything. Yeah, so it's very difficult. But I do say for the people that did, I think a couple people did do very well. I think someone like Flood, for example, like
Yeah,
he absolutely slayed Hyperliquid. Yeah, I think that comes from not only having experience in crypto, but also having like traditional finance experience,
yeah,
where yes, the asset is so good and it makes so much sense, but it's in crypto. So can I really have the conviction to hold it while Bitcoin does nothing? I think he was able to really like do that very well, and he probably had great hedges with hedging other dog shit
yeah.
like
Even
Ethereum
I
as
was
well.
of that mindset where I think I caught a move from maybe 33 to 41 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
And then I was like, and then Bitcoin was not doing anything and we were not breaking out of 84K or something. And I
yeah.
was like, there has never been a case where Bitcoin does just go down and any other altcoin keeps going up. I just felt like that's never going to happen on a long enough time horizon. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I didn't bother. And then these flows kind of surprised everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone and then we had like even though in the beginning it was very small, the
Yeah.
second week I think from 10 million it went from to 40 or
Mm-hmm.
something, and it kind of surprised everyone. uh, but yeah, I think we will like being above previous all-time high is still a good sign, I believe.
Well, it's
uh,
below previous all-time highs right now, but
right now. I
but
mean,
yeah, yeah. And
let's see what happens at, I don't know, 54, 56.
eh,
That's my kind of level where I'm thinking. long
Yeah.
is worth it. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like the way Bitcoin is trading, if like I think it was kind of telegraphed the other day where someone just sold 1.5 billion in like a single clip or something.
Yeah, on
And,
iBit.
yeah, and that was kind of who guess they knew something. Uh, but yeah, what about your story with Hyperliquid? Like, when did you first discover it? Were you early to
I
it?
I
Yeah,
first discovered it, I want to say in 2023, thanks to Nexus, Crypto Nexus on the timeline.
go to guy, go to guy.
He was like the first guy that I saw. I think a lot of group chats, but I didn't. And again, I didn't farm it as hard as I should have. I farmed it. I didn't do what I should have. I should have had like 10 accounts, been like spamming it. But I did farm it. Yeah, I used it. I think for me the most innovation was they just kept iterating. Like you saw when Friendtech came out, they had like a top 7 Friendtech burp or top 10 if I'm not mistaken. But that's the type of stuff that you want to see in this space. And I think right now it's why it does so well. The equity side of the world, so tech stocks are doing so well,
Yeah,
and with Hyperliquid you can latch onto it. The same was with any type of trading environment we're going to see in this space. When it does well, Hyperliquid will latch onto it and give us crypto people the ability to get long, use it, and do all that stuff. And I think that's like the best feature of the team and also the product, right? Because you can't say the same for something like I want to say something like Circle or any stablecoin protocol. How will they latch on to this huge AI bubble? And I think they're trying with AI agents, but
yeah.
it's not working in my opinion. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, someone said it the other day that everything is an AI trade, and even Hyperliquid is an AI trade in some sense, where you're basically getting exposure to the equity side of the AI trade
yeah,
through the exchange.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I think it going above Coinbase market cap, I mean, in FDV terms, is quite
fantastic.
something. I don't know. Like, did you see this vision like when you were early, like maybe even or during the TGE time? Did
No,
you?
I saw this vision in May last year. I think when I first started reading about how I think it was around early May they were bringing HIP3 where they will really push the narrative. Hey, we're the house of all finance. Everything's going to happen here. And that's kind of where I bought most of my hype. I did not do like I sold some around TGE. I wouldn't say at 4 or 5, but around 12, 13. And I had to buy a lot of it back at like 25, 26, and then some. That's kind of where I bought most of it at that price because it just made a lot of sense of hey, they're trying to do everything here. It's not just crypto. It's every side of the market.
Yeah,
I think they're going to bring equities. They've brought American equities, and I think soon enough they'll bring Japanese equities. They'll bring every country's equities will be able to be traded on there, and then they're going to bring all the assets that you as a user want to trade. You can have exposure to that, and that's when you think about it. It's not competing with Coinbase, but it's competing with interactive brokers. It's competing with Hood. It's competing with those type of guys. Coinbase is like the first, like let's say, stepping
yeah,
stone to beating everyone else. And yeah, I think if you have if the team succeeds and keeps their foot on the pedal, because one thing you see in crypto a lot, projects will push out a great product. They'll do very well with TGE. We look at any token, yeah, the token's trading at $10 billion. The team gets very lackadaisical, doesn't do what they should be doing, doesn't keep innovating, doesn't keep adding new features, and it dies. While the Hyperliquid, they've TG'd very low, token traded extremely high, and they keep pushing it. And I think that's what's very important for them to keep that vision going of, hey, we're not competing with you, Coinbase. You're nothing to us. We're competing with interactive brokers. We're competing with the big boys, and we can beat them. And
yeah.
yeah, I think if you have that type of vision for Hyperliquid, you will see the multiples of it can trade at 200, it can trade at 250.
Easy.
But yeah, but yeah, it's still latched on to Bitcoin. So the correlation is not in our favor. But I think if Bitcoin bottoms, we can see it. It's that type of asset.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was CL the other day. I think a couple months they said Bitcoin goes up, hype will go up more. It's that simple. Don't overthink it.
No.
And I think one other thing is there's so many people still are new to like just a perpetual game.
Yeah.
I've been in some calls with people like over the last couple of weeks because hype was hitting new all-time highs and everyone's talking about it. And it was so surprising to me that people in crypto, I mean, they may not be traders or investors, even they didn't know what actually perps are, how do they even work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and people outside the space, let's say I'm from India, and there's so
Hmm.
many traders here that the volume is probably the number one or something in terms of notional options volume.
Hmm.
And if they are exposed to something like this, I think they'll just eat it up. And the fact that our people are complaining to the finance minister saying our stocks are doing so bad, why don't we have access to the US stock market? That if they
Yeah.
discover something like this, everything will just like 100x because that's how much the TAM is in terms of just traders wanting access to the biggest markets.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just I think the story like I'm not that bullish on the outcome markets or something like this,
No.
but just the equity side of things, I think there's just so much to be done.
Like I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not a big fan of these prediction markets or outcome market. I think like with what Hyperliquid's trying to do, I think they're trying to do more of like binary options. So it's either yes,
Yeah,
no, which is simplifying options. If I had to say it, but I don't think prediction market is what it's. I really do think it's very simple. I want to long Korean stocks because Korean stocks are going up only.
yeah,
I, as a European investor, have very little access to that. How can I long European? How can I long Japanese or Korean stocks? I have to use something like Hyperliquid. I don't think Hyperliquid has the most exposure to these Korean or Japanese stocks, but yeah, and again, any like let's say big hedge fund will be like, I have access to it. I do because a hedge fund does. They have institutional investors. They can access these type of things, but any retail guy does not have access to this stuff. Especially,
yeah,
let's say maybe in America. I'm not sure how it works in America as well. I think Hood and Interactive Brokers, you can get access to that stuff. But as a European, it's difficult. And especially with KYC and AML, becomes more difficult. And I think, yeah, that just adds a lot of value for Hyperliquid. And
yeah. And I think like one thing that I'm seeing is at least a trend in India is people are so enamored by the fact that they have just given up all their gains and they are paying 10-15%. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's very high premium to have access to some of these stocks. And if they are given a good opportunity to access it, I don't think it's going to take that much of a convincing, or you don't have to sell them. Like you don't have to be one of these centralized exchanges going on the ground and doing all this kind of BD stuff.
no,
Uh, and because they are kind of starving for something like this.
what I,
Uh,
what I do think is unique for Hype, maybe it's their downfall or a benefit for someone else,
yeah,
is they don't care about, in my opinion, onboarding users or making like a mobile app. And I think because they're not doing that, that leads to the benefit of someone else, right?
I kind
Someone
of disagree with that. Like, why you shouldn't have, why they're not doing it. I don't know why it's such a big deal. Like, you should be focusing on that because most of the people are like, you shouldn't trade on your mobile, but almost
everyone does it.
everyone does it.
But I think they're not doing it because it isn't in their word. That's not our goal. Their
Yeah,
goal is to build the best like liquidity layer for people to plug in and build all this stuff. Maybe they're giving the opportunity to someone else to do it because that is a huge tangible market. Like I think if you have like a mobile app or an easy to use application where people can log in, check the charts, buy all that stuff, just connected to Hyperliquid. That's why I think someone like Jez building paper trade is a really cool function. Like that's the type of things what Hyperliquid is built for.
yeah,
And yeah, I think what I do think is you're going to see more perp dexes trying. If I were a perp dex, I would try and focus a little bit more on mobile. But all
yeah.
these perp
Like
dexes are just yeah.
I personally like trade on lighter a lot. I will kind of
I
shift.
yeah.
Liquid is good for trading at
Hmm.
least some of the majors,
Hmm.
but they have launched the mobile app maybe 6-7 months ago,
It's not very good,
and
right?
it's still not good. Like it's
Exactly.
still not that great, right? So it is hard kind of. technical or whatever, but I think everyone should have, like, I've asked so many traders over the last week that why are you still trading on, let's say, some one of these centralized exchanges over, like one of these pub dexes
Mm-hmm.
they're like, it's just not worth it for them, for some of these bigger guys. uh
Yeah, yeah, I agree. If you're, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's so important, I feel like, and it's something that people are like, even though I agree that Hyperliquid having only 11 people, or I don't know how many it is, maybe 15,
Hmm.
but you have to at some point kind of expand that. And even though they're just working on the core protocol, the core engine, at some point someone has to, do some of this on ground stuff, so all these centralized exchanges do, to
Uh
onboard,
huh.
make the discovery easier. Like, everyone is not on crypto Twitter, uh,
I,
and yeah,
I see where you're coming from, where they have to like have on the ground stuff because you go to these events and.
not crypto events though.
No, I get it. I get it. But if you look at the hype community, like that's their thing. They've built the cult like community that is doing their business development. You know,
Yeah,
like they're the best form of marketing, in my opinion, is still word of mouth. If you and all those community members are hosting events, going to these big things, it's showing why it's working, and it's why you see in the TradFi space, like we saw it with Cerebras, where it was on the terminal next to Bloomberg. Everyone was
yeah,
using it right next to there, and it's probably because there was someone was trading crypto and they saw it and they show it. And a great product, what they have, will do. It's good
yeah.
marketing for you.
I think maybe I'm waiting for is like the poly market movement. Obviously, I think hype is bigger than poly market in terms of just size and TAM or not.
I think TAM, but in current size, I think more people know about Poly Market than
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm
Hyperliquid.
saying, right? Like, if you go on Instagram or some one of
Yeah,
these YouTube or something,
yeah,
every show, like if you're watching, let's say, the Knicks versus
yeah.
Fame,
No, I think yeah,
people are like, between the show, they're pull up the poly market odds, pull up the Kalshi odds. That usually comes up, but
yeah,
you don't see all these finance bros on their shows or reels or whatever saying pull up Hyperliquid pre-IPOs to say where SpaceX
they
is.
they
So I
don't
think that
pay
will
for
come.
that,
Yeah,
and I don't think they want to.
yeah,
I think that's also a core ethos. You're free to trade elsewhere if you want to. And I see exactly where your point is coming from if you think about it from like a marketing business idea.
yeah,
You have the best product. Why are we not doing more marketing for them? I think again it stems from the idea of if we see a gap like that, let's say you're a marketing or just a front end, you're seeing this gap. Why don't you go and do it then yourself? I
yeah,
think builder codes is a good example. I think a lot of people that are building on builder codes, like Phantom, is doing it. Why isn't Phantom going even deeper into Hyperliquid since they're great at
exactly.
marketing and just be like pushing it so fucking hard? Because and you don't even need to push Hyperliquid. I think you push Phantom more than anything, that you can see everything there. It's free for anybody to do. Again, I do understand where you're coming from. It makes a lot of sense for Hype to do it and the team to do it because why the fuck not?
I think they are, we see this, you're not seeing it like very retail focused.
Hmm.
Like, it's on, they're on all these big panels. Obviously, I think the hyper strategy, them launching a DAT, that has helped a lot in terms of just eyeballs. Uh, but I think we'll see more of it, because I think Cerebras IPO is not something like a lot of people know, even though it's a very big.
No,
But when Anthropic and, OpenAI, when we see these come on, like,
SpaceX.
yeah, SpaceX, these
Yeah.
pre-IPO charts will be all
Hmm.
everywhere, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see.
No,
Uh,
for sure. Again, it's all like the way I see it is if they're not doing it, it's an opportunity for someone else to do it. And yeah, that's
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we've geeked about Hyperliquid enough. But one question on is, what do you think about season three? Like, every week, I think someone brings this up and people are fighting all over it.
Could you repeat that? I didn't hear you. What did you say?
About Hyperliquid season three.
Yeah, I don't think it's in their benefit to do another airdrop.
You
I
think we should
genuinely
burn it?
don't. What did you say?
You think we should burn it?
No, I think maybe that could be a good idea. I think maybe they do an airdrop much later. I don't think they should. I think there's other forms of incentives they can do with tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to say. I don't think they will. If they do, that's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I don't
I
think
mean,
there's a
I would love that. Like, I think I farmed after the TG. But yeah, I mean, it's still a little dilutive, but I think they should just, I don't know, staking rewards or something, or they should just burn it. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, one other thing, EBT, like, I've been asking a lot of traders is, over the last 3 months, maybe since this range, even though we've had good 15-20% rallies here and there, it feels awfully depressing on
hmm
timeline. Why do you think that is? What are your like general thoughts on this price action? I have a follow up to that, but yeah, just your general thoughts on this rally we had and why is everyone so depressed?
It's because it's like nobody's really positioned in Bitcoin. If you look at like the masses, it's the big guys that are positioned in Bitcoin. You look at anybody with a small portfolio, they're not in Bitcoin. They're looking at us, and then on top of that, the best rallies are concentrated in 3 to 5 tokens. You've had VVV do very well. I don't think a lot of people are positioned in that. Zcash, Hyperliquid, Near's done well, but I like to look at as a retail indicator a little bit. I don't know if we could pull up a chart. If you look at something like Doge, yeah, it like you just pull up the weekly chart, pop up. Like in 2022, sentiment wasn't that bad, especially when we had that bear market rally in I think it started in around June
Yeah,
after Luna. Um, it rallied like 2x, 3x. You got a hyperliquid. That's why, like, if you look at the hyperliquid community sentiment, oh, it's fine, it's cool. Same with the Doge in 2022, and right now, if you look at it, like it's only 30%, and that's why the sentiment is so bad. And you grab any old chart, we can look at Litecoin, we can look at all these other charts where
yeah.
most or a lot of people are still like positioned in. Yeah, of course, I would understand that the sentiment is bad. You pull up, yeah, let's pull up Arbitrum. Like I look at that, it's the biggest L2.
Yeah,
It's the hyperliquid bridge. How are
yeah,
you doing? Which one chart would have it?
it's not great.
Yeah, I don't think it's great either. I haven't looked like look at this. It's rallied maybe 50%, right? And in 2025 after Trump, we at least got like a 2x. Like these rallies are just very small for these assets. And I'm not saying they should rally. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. They don't deserve to rally. It's all dog shit. But
yeah,
that's why the sentiment, because people are so concentrated, and they're not concentrated in the good coins. Because if you were positioned, this is by the way like a paper trade. Don't get me wrong, I did not short the top. But
sure, sure.
if you were positioned and stuff like this, and from the minute the war started, and you just longed something like Hyperliquid or Zcash or VVV, you're doing fucking fantastic. You're happy as hell, and I think that's the thing. It's asset selection,
Yeah.
and
And I
yeah,
don't think it has been particularly hard as well. Like, I think,
it has not been, but it has been fighting your inner
yeah,
demons
yeah.
because
I think like whenever I don't think Zcash was particularly hard. I think it was a hard hold because everything else was looking bad. But I don't think it was a hard thing to select because there were pretty good signs. Obviously, hype. I think Hyperliquid probably was the most obvious kind of thing with we had the war stuff, the oil longs, and the attention there, and then the equity stuff kind of boomed, and
if
Trade XYZ just
yeah,
doing listing everything the next day and doing hundreds of millions in volume. That was a little obvious, even though I don't think maybe outside of few people, whales, I don't think most people are. I mean, the fuel to all-time highs was like just so many of people just rage shorting it. I think.
rate
Uh,
shorting, but also I think people ETFs buying, you had
yeah,
Coinbase buying, you had a huge revenue bump for Hyperliquid. There was a lot of fundamentals,
yeah,
and again, the bear in me is like, okay, there's so much buying. Why is it not going higher? And
yeah. I think if Bitcoin was at 84 or something, hype would be by now at least at 70.
I would say
Uh,
70, 80. I agree.
yeah, easily. Uh, but yeah, the other thing that I wanted to ask is how do you, you know, this we had this rally, we've had so many opportunities, and we've had like consensus trades and whatnot. But like, walk me through your process. Like, how do you, let's say on this today we are Thursday, but how do you go about your week? How do you find winning setups? What does like the process look like for EBT?
For me, like again, I have two. I like to split my portfolio up in two separate baskets. One is a swing, longer term, where I'm holding weeks, if not months, and then I have like the intraday holding for maybe 24 hours. I don't like holding for very long. And yeah, I think I'll focus more on like the intraday for now, since it's also a lower time frame. When it comes to my process, I have two types of processes. One is a very mean reversion focused strategy, where I'm momentum to the downside or upside is slowing, and I basically get in and get out. Not very long. Try and keep it as short as possible. And then the other strategy is trend following, which in this current regime, if you're not picking something like Hype, Zcash, or VVV, or any of these good coins, you're not making money on this trend following strategy. As much as money you would make money on Bitcoin, if I think about it. But yeah, for me, if I look at it, I like to start usually with patience in a bear market. My most important asset here is being a little bit patient. I'm not super starved to get in a position at all times. And mapping out a current level. For me, my mean reversion strategy is fairly simple. I have a level that I think is interesting. What is price doing when it's trading into that level? Are people rage shorting that level and price is not moving? Good sign. I can get a good scalp long because momentum is slowing to the downside. Same thing with the upside. As people rage buying into the upside and is price not pushing higher, I can get a good scalp to the downside. And that's pretty much my mean reversion strategy. It's not very difficult. You can dive very deep into the data because you'll start looking at third party data where you start looking at MMT or Velo, and you really go in like to the microstructure. Okay, on the 1 minute, we have $10 million of buying, but price is not moving. Okay, I can fade this. Stuff like that. Or you can look at it as simple as like a momentum indicator, which also works. Not the best, but it's confirmations. It's all about confirmations. I'm looking at a momentum indicator. It's downside is slowing. I look at the data. Okay, people are trying to mass short this level. I can get away with a good risk defined scalp, you know. And then when it comes to like my trend following strategy, it's very simple. High time frame pretty much starts at the 4 hour. I try and buy short term trends. So I got a good long for Hyperliquid at around 54 on the Saturday morning. And yeah, it's very much just high time frame. And right now the trend is lost on a short time frame. So we're patient.
Yeah,
And you can look at it at an even higher time frame if you want. It's actually better if you look at it at like a higher time frame, where this trend is still so fantastic that if we can get a bid at about 50, that's fantastic for another potential swing.
yeah,
And yes, the trend works the best in a bull market. In a bear market, it is difficult because there's not a lot of assets trending. I do recommend for everybody to find your own way, because I found this by testing a bunch of things. I had like a billion and two indicators on it. I went as deep into looking into footprint. I've dug through the in silico terminal bunker. I've done it all. I've added like 10,000 indicators to my chart, and I've come to the conclusion from my personal experience that keep it simple, keep it stupid. If you find a strategy that works and you have enough repetition and enough data behind it, you can take risks to find trades, and that's all that matters in the end of it. So yeah, that's kind of how my process is right now. In a bull market, it is different. It's looking higher time frame, looking at levels, and
yeah.
pretty much just believing a little bit.
Do you? I see that you have like so many tickers on your watch list. Is that like you just scoop for like find new alts and look at everything, or Do you
I
have like
Yeah,
a list of like usually how I kind of have been shifted by focuses? Like last cycle, I used to have like 30 tickers watching every new
yeah,
order was popping. But recently, I kind of just shifted to, let's say, 4 or 5 tickers and just trading around them. Are
yeah.
you also like that, or you just look for new coins? Like
Um,
AI is trending. Let me look at, let's say, all these old shit like render and FTT or
no, I,
trend.
I think right now in this your best bet is momentum. You find where the momentum is, and that I've just recently started doing it. Is also looking at equities, looking at Micron. Like in my strategy, you got like a great after a very hard trend of Micron. You're getting like a good 4 hour trend reset into like demand, whatever you want to look like, and yeah, you could have swung this to like new highs. And I think for me in this bear market, it's really been being picky and looking at momentum and trying to expand my own scope. It's very difficult to do since I am hard headed and have a lot of pessimism in me. So I've missed a lot and I'm not ashamed to say it. But yeah, for me, when it comes to my watch list, what I have is I have this one, which is just my mains. I filter this quite a bit. I have some high cap, like the main ones, which is Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, and then I have assets that are trending, momentum based that I find by just scouring the charts. You can have like a TG bot that scours momentum. Those things are quite easy to code these days. Where like, hey, this token is up 5% in like a day, so let's look at it. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's just finding. It's a lot of asset selection. What I have found is in this bear market, it's better to focus on less than more. If you're like spending all your time looking at 3,000 tickers, you're not going to do as well. While if you had spent all your time just looking at like five of the best tickers, you would have made a lot of money. And
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty much what I think. And I think that will also be the same in a bull market. You know, winners win, losers lose.
I agree. Um, and also, we got so many opportunities to kind of long some of these stronger odds as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're almost at time. How about we kind of go through some charts and we just talk about what's happening right now and maybe discuss some plans for the summer.
I think summer plans, the way
We can
like
start with like Bitcoin.
yeah, let's start with Bitcoin on a high time frame. Yeah, I think right now this is the area of bounce. I think
Yeah,
this was our previous range. We had great range. This is the level that needs to hold. I don't think it holds. I do think it's good for a bounce. I think you can start scaling into orders. I'm not very good at drawing, by the way, so it will look really ugly, but I think you can like expect something like this, and then yeah, and then eventually it tests these lows. This is my base case. Again, it is completely possible that this thing, what I'm trying to see in time with this level of bottom, I do think it like chops a little bit here, is seeing how Sailor and the bidders come in, right? When we're at this level, we're getting close to the time. It's full moon in 2 weeks and Sunday, so that means it's a good idea to have stretches coming in. What is Sailor gonna do? What are my bidders gonna do? If they fail to hold this, then yeah, we're pretty much screwed. I do think will eventually, but yeah. And when it comes to my baseline case for this, it's okay. I think Bitcoin's gonna bounce. What should I do? And that is long the winners and the strongest coins. Your current strongest coins on my watch list are stuff like Hype. Lit is doing very well. I think this is also a pretty decent looking chart, actually. I
agree.
think Lighter is a good one. Monad is showing some strength. I would not be like longer of this. I think it's my time is better served looking at other stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty much okay. I think we're going to be bottoming or could lead to a bounce for Bitcoin. Let me look at strong charts, and it's simple process of trying to time it, which is easier said than done. And always because we have so much bad stuff, I think shorting ETH and Sol is good hedges. Like
yeah.
for
I mean, how
every
we talk about that, right? Like
yeah.
everyone is back. Another consensus is short ETH hedge.
Yeah, I do feel it's consensus, but I do feel it's consensus in the same way that we're confident about hype. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's the type of consensus I'm getting because like let me ask you something as like a trader investor, just someone that uses like
Yeah.
that invest in companies. What is the value proposition for Ethereum making money?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much like you think that at some point, these big changes the EF makes and they just make these big announcements and stuff, but they go back and we see news that Vitalik is writing a fantasy novel right now or something, and
Yeah, like I don't even look at that. I look at what are they doing to bring activity to the chain. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I
There's
mean, it's always like the arguments have always been the same where okay, institutions are gonna come, they're gonna pick ETH because of its security and whatnot. But
they
the
did.
but, but the main question of okay, how does that actually come back to ETH? That is left unanswered.
It's like this, right? If and I'm giving a very dumb example, it's why Ethereum traded so well into the NFT rally. There was activity on chain. People wanted to do shit on Ethereum. It's the reason why Hyperliquid does well. People trade on the platform. The platform grows. They make more money, and Hyperliquid has the great like circle where because there's fees, they're buying the hype token. Ethereum had this thing. I think it's the merge, if I'm not mistaken, is what it's called, where the more activity there is, it's deflationary, right? But great, fantastic innovation, but nobody's using the chain for that to work. And yeah, you just need activity on the chain, and there hasn't been really any innovation. People tried AI agents, dog shit. Yeah, they need innovation. They need a good app on Ethereum mainnet, or just not on a layer two on Ethereum mainnet. We need a good app on Ethereum mainnet. And yeah, there hasn't been a good app. Sure, you see activity of like these blue chip DeFi protocols, but they're all just okay, I'm gonna deposit money there. I'm not gonna touch it.
Yeah.
I need an activity, and that's why I think when the NFT rally happened, it was so well because people were actively trading on it. And yeah, if
And
there's no
what about
activity,
Soul?
yeah.
Is that how you view Soul as well?
Similar, same thing. There's no activity on what is there to do on Sol besides memes, besides pump fun. Like I think if I'm not mistaken, they're trying to pivot into all tokens will be tradable on Sol. Cool. I think that's a good idea. Bringing spot stocks, bringing like assets like Zcash, Monad, all this stuff is available on Solana to buy with good liquidity, which is a cool innovation. But again, nobody's really using it because the activity in crypto is so low. Yeah, I think as long as Pump Fund is based on the Solana chain, I find it very difficult to
Where do you think these will bottom eventually? Like everyone's saying
Solana.
ETH below 1,000, Soul at 50.
Um, look, the way I look at it, I need to see further confirmation. Like right now with Sol, it's actually super interesting. Um, it's this has like been the range for so
Yeah.
long. Maybe the daily would look better. Yeah, this has been the range pretty much. I think if you start getting daily closes below and I think I'm not trying to knife catch that because it's
Yeah.
been pretty much like a 4 to 5 month range, and if it breaks below it, you wait for a bottom and then you can buy. You wait for some form of confirmation. I don't know when it bottoms. I don't try and put price targets on this stuff. I realized for my good or my bad, it's better I try and see if there's form of momentum coming back to it. And I don't see I don't see a reason to hold Sol or ETH because where is the activity on the chain? What is going on? Like back in 2023, the activity for Solana was, of course, it's a dead chain, but you started seeing some activity on it. People actually started using it. The memes became bigger. People were deploying tokens on there, and then that moved into pump fun, and that just killed it because yeah, well,
Yeah.
they're disgusting humans that just launch shitters and stuff like that. Not something not
Yeah.
something we need in this
I
space.
think like it's I'm always I'm really biased about Solana because it was the first kind of good time I had in crypto. But I'm always bullish the chain, not the token,
Fair.
because it feels like, I mean, the foundation, all these people, I mean, they're a little rage baiting right now, but uh, but I think like they're doing a lot of, what it feels like damage control kind of thing, where
Yeah.
they're trying with new narratives, they're trying this institutional angle
I,
like every other chain,
yeah.
but they're not able to get out of the shadow of Solana as a meme chain, and I don't know if they ever will.
Look, I respect the foundation for at least trying.
Yeah,
Like sure they are a meme chain, but damn, I do respect them for trying to change that narrative because look, ETH is
yeah,
not trying to change shit.
yeah,
I can respect that they're trying things and it's not landing yet. Nothing has landed. They're a meme, but I do respect the trying, and I think if you keep trying, you might succeed, and especially in this space, they've not given up. Whereas when I look at Ethereum, I feel like it's given up in a sense. Like they've just gone back to cyberpunk realities and said, you know what, screw the institutions. They're not doing things. So yeah, I do. If they succeed in bring a new narrative, bring people on chain, I will happily buy Solana because yeah, in the end, there's never just one blockchain winner. There are multiple, in
yeah.
my opinion. And yeah, I'm a fan if they do it. I do respect it, and I will happily cheer them on. I will cheer anybody that tries to better our space.
I agree, man. Yeah, I mean, we've almost at time. I have a few more
Yeah,
questions for
for
you.
sure.
Um, One thing I think people are struggling right now is, I mean, the 10-10 talk just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
How do you, like, let's say, I mean, obviously as a trader, everyone has setbacks.
Yeah.
And how do you, after some of the big losses, any advice for people to make the kind of crawl out of their way? And how, if you had experienced something like that, what?
Yeah. So I've actually had, in my opinion, my biggest loss, if I remember correctly, was in 2021 in December. I wouldn't say we had a similar thing to 1010, but 1010 was different. But in December 2021, we had kind of like this move right here. Yeah, it was a Friday, Saturday, December 4th. I remember very clearly. I lost like a lot of money that day. Very much just reached portfolio all time lows. And the one advice I can give is I only made all my money back and then some years later. I didn't make it back in 10 minutes. I didn't make it back in 10 days. It took time. And I think the biggest advice I can say is if you lost, don't blow up. Like in trading, there's four outcomes there's win big, win lose, lose small, and lose big, right? If you do all four, you're probably going to end up like either zeroed or just not making money. If as long as you just don't lose big, you're good. And yeah, I think for me, you have to learn to lose. And learning to lose comes from experience and repetition. On 1010, I didn't have a lot of crypto exposure. I had a little bit, but I was long, for example, XPL. I remember very clearly. And it crashed from like $1 to 50 cents, and I had quite a big loss. It's probably the biggest loss all bull market, and probably my biggest loss since that May thing. And for me, is hey, it's part of the game. I closed. I sold everything. I said, fuck it. I think this is done. Crypto's cooked for at least a little while. I'm going to chill and not be long. And
Yeah,
yeah, I recouped those losses over time, over the playing perps, playing the game, and yeah, that's been what the game is about. It's just don't blow up and learn to lose. Like learning to
yeah.
lose is part of the game.
Relate to you on that. One final question.
Hmm.
What's your kind of high level thinking for the next this summer, end of the year? How do we think
Okay.
we go from here? Do we think we have another we set new lows and then grind higher?
Uh,
How are you kind of thinking about it?
I think summer is gonna be summer, like every bear market summer. Like we can go back to as far as look at like 2028 summer. I think yeah. Let's pull this up. I think you just had price trading from 5,000 to about 8,000 on a very small asset, 60%. But this is pretty much it, just a range. We look at summer 2022, which is pretty much here, I think, just range. And the same will be said for here. It's just a range. What I do think is people need to either A, just stop trading if you're like, unless you're scalping, which I do think there's volatility to scalp,
Yep.
and just wait, be patient. I think if I had to give like a base case or what I think happens, is there's a possibility. I think it comes here, it bounces like I've drawn here, and this is kind of where you start accumulating. In a very ideal world, what I would love to see was kind of similar to 2023. It's where all these lows get taken, and we start forming a range here, and then something like that. I think I drew it
Yeah.
right. This is like a very ideal case. I don't know if it happens because if you look at 2023, 2022, 2023, the only reason we did this was FTX.
Yeah.
I think it's highly possible that we don't do this. Maybe it's a sweep, maybe it's much less, but this is like a very ideal world because it's also, I love crypto, but the thing it's made me is so pessimistic. I need risk defined trades where, okay, it's swept along, it's built foundation below, it's trapping a bunch of people that are trying to rate short it, and I can get long maybe on a reclaim of that on this like curvature here, and then I can swing it to fucking maybe new highs, taking profit along the way, and that's how I look at it. And this is an ideal world, but yeah, I think for me is if you are, let's say, an investor, I think your best bet is to continuously accumulate the projects that you believe in and have the ability to pivot. If you believe in hype, great prices to buy. Like if 50 comes, yeah, 50s, 40s, 30s, and you believe in the product, buy it. Same with Bitcoin. It's close to the end of the bear, in my opinion, and you will
Yeah.
have opportunities to bid. Like buying, like if you think about it, I'm not saying 70 is the best price, but if you buy 70 and you throw it in a ledger, and we do get a good bull market on crypto on Bitcoin, I think you can feasibly target, let's say, something like 200,000, or like let's say all time highs, right? That's a 2x or like a 60%. If
Yeah.
you bought 60K, and that's the thing, we just have to, you know, just continue. If you believe in it, it's a good time to buy. I'm more of a trader slash investor, so I try and combine both strategies a little bit. So I will be potentially waiting for better prices. And yeah, that's kind of what I would say. I think if you're in the equity space, yeah, equities are much more thingy, much more like volatile, much more trendy, much better. So good to look in there. I've been doing that more myself recently. And yeah, I don't know when this equity bubble, whatever you want to call it, ends or there's a dip or anything. It's very difficult to see if the AI bubble is compared to the dot com. I think as long as you can take good trades and maybe hop on the trend with some perps on Hyperliquid or anything. Yeah, but I I find it yeah, it's I think it's best for the summer if you're a trader just to chill and
Yeah.
go enjoy your life. Spend time with family, spend time with friends, spend time with your girlfriend even though none of us have one. Yeah, I think that's kind of the best advice I could give for anybody this summer, and come back
Awesome.
in Q3, and let's see where the market takes us this next couple of days, weeks, months, years.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we'll have interesting spots here from here to, let's say, October, or I don't know, July or something. But I think seasonality again strikes, and the same cycle repeats, kind of thing, where everyone's like, 4-year cycle or whatever. But yeah.
I find the seasonality funny because like it's now the end of May. Everybody here was like, "Oh, Silent May is fake. It doesn't work." And now look at where we are. So seasonality does work. So yeah,
100%. Awesome. That's EBT for you guys. Very underrated follow. You should check him out on Twitter.
thanks
Uh,
guys.
but yeah, this was amazing. Thank you so much for your time, man. It was a
Awesome.
pleasure.
It was a pleasure.